I want to, as always, remind us that the work we're doing here is very serious. We will likely hit the 50 mark in terms of people we've lost here in Calgary today. And those are 50 people who were friends, who were family members, who were loved ones, they were our neighbors. Ultimately, they were our people. And today is April 28th, is always the National Day of Mourning. It's the day that we mourn people who have been killed or injured or who have fallen ill in the workplace. And you'll see that all of the flags at city facilities across the city are at half staff today. And starting today, they will remain at half staff. I have asked that those flags stay down at half staff for the duration of this crisis that we're facing so that we remember that as we are having discussions about reopening, as we're having discussions about what activities are and are not available, that ultimately this is an issue that is about life and death. And I want to remember the people that we've lost and ensure that we hold them in our memory and that we act accordingly as we continue to keep ourselves safe in this period of clean hands, clear heads, and open hearts.
I'm happy to report that we've had a lot of positive feedback from our parks ambassadors who have been out in the community over the weekend. They've been educating citizens on how to enjoy our parks, our pathways, and our green spaces, while reminding them about the safety requirements if you're going to be out to spread out. In addition, our Calgary Community Standards officers have conducted 362 patrols since Friday, and they continue to report back that they're getting improvements in the social distancing among the citizens. So just a moment to say thank you to Calgarians that have been doing that appropriate response. That being said, we have a few numbers for you. There are still some circumstances where Calgarians are not observing the necessary behavior. Our Calgary Community Standards officers issued 140 warnings, as well as 3 violation tickets of $1,200 a ticket. These were to individuals not following physical distancing requirements in Lindsay Park. 3 violation tickets of $400 were issued to individuals who were using a skate park. And as you'll know, skate parks have been closed since March the 27th. Additionally, 3 violation tickets of $120 were issued to individuals for drinking in a public space. We prefer to use enforcement as a last resort. We need the public's cooperation to help understand the seriousness and the requirement for following these public health measures. Since Friday, we have had 1,515 calls to 311 related to COVID-19. Some of these were concerns and some of these were inquiries. 338 of these calls were related to physical distancing concerns. This is where, as Calgarians, we can control this. We can take the behaviors necessary to not have these concerns come forward. We had 58 calls about physical distancing in public spaces, 34 calls concerning private yards or areas, 38 calls concerning playground use, and 34 calls regarding the size of gatherings. In addition, 31 concerns were dispatched to the Calgary Police Service regarding mass gatherings of 15 people or more in an area. Additionally, we've also got a task force that's working together to work with businesses that are still remaining open regardless of the essential services order. Last weekend, they received 40 calls from different citizens, bringing the total number of COVID concerns to 560 since we declared a state of local emergency in mid-March. 2 businesses were issued a warning. We will continue to conduct these weekly inspections for the foreseeable future, and non-essential businesses found operating in convention of the public health order could face fines. This is also a great time to remind Calgarians that we are still in a state of local emergency, and it's really up to you to help us stop the spread of COVID-19. We're encouraging you to continue to report any concerns that you may have to 311 or to submit an online request. It is important to note that until further notice, our disc golf courses are closed. This is in addition to other organized sports which are prohibited from being played in the city of Calgary. Our green spaces themselves remain open. This is for passive recreation, such as walking and getting out and getting some air. We are asking you to please respect these closures, along with the other closures that we've had in place for some weeks, including playgrounds, equipment, and infrastructure.
So I was actually quite pleased to see a little teensy bit of loosening of the restrictions from public health. So our advice still is stay home as much as you can. However, if you want to do those driveway visits, those Sunday suppers that my family was doing at the beginning of this, where the people in the house stay on the porch and the other people sit at the end of the driveway or the end of the lawn, that's okay. Just don't make a huge habit of it. Make sure that you're really, really staying safe in all of this, because we want to ensure that people don't take that 6 foot as I'm totally safe if I'm 6 foot or 2 meters or the width of a full grown llama away from the other person, and then I can do anything. I can go, have a party in the park as long as I stay 6 feet away. For people who really feel the need to see their family and their friends, and remember that those gatherings of 15, I'll remind you, are for people under 60 years old, people who don't have any pre existing conditions, people who are not immunosuppressed. So for me, I'm really erring on the side of caution and making sure that we are still really careful. But you're certainly not going to get one of those tickets that Sue talked about if you're having a driveway visit with folks. I'm still saying try to stay away from, going and having a picnic or being for a period of time in the park with people who are not part of your cohort that are 6 feet away from you. I still think that's getting a little bit too close to riskier behavior. But ultimately, I was pleased that public health has eased up a little bit on these restrictions, just clarifying that you can see people, but don't make it for long periods of time. And don't think that that is a magic thing that is going to keep you safe, and don't involve people who are at risk.